My beloved child, when your eyes are fixed only on the dangers that seem obvious, when your vigilance is consumed by what can be seen in the natural, that is the very moment when the hidden snares of darkness are arranged with precision and subtle calculation. They do not roar, nor do they appear with frightening shapes as you might imagine, but disguise themselves within ordinary circumstances, in empty yet sweet words, in the fragile familiarity of relationships that appear harmless. They slip into your life, without knocking, without noise, like a quiet draft of wind, seeping under the door in the night, silent, yet deliberate. You do not realize how thin the line has become between safety and collapse. The abyss does not reveal itself as a visible crack beneath your feet, but it exists within each decision you make when your soul has grown weary. You believe it is mere exhaustion, the natural result of days filled with strain, but it is deeper than that. It is the slow erosion within, where the roots of your spirit are drying, where the flame of faith is dimmed beneath the dust of doubt, disappointment, and surrender. As I look down, I see not only your feet wandering off course, but also the fading light in your eyes. I see the life I once placed within you, surrounded by faint whispers, deceptive sweetness, and invisible cords pulling you away from truth. These do not come all at once, nor are they so obvious that you could easily detect them. Instead, they work like water dripping against stone, wearing it down over time. At first comes fatigue, then indifference, and eventually a point where you no longer long to pray, no longer sense life flowing within you. You think you are fine simply because you have not collapsed, but you do not see that your soul is slowly losing its compass. The forces of darkness do not need to tear you apart with violence. They only need to cause you to forget who it was that called your name among the countless voices. They only need to make you question the love I have given you from the beginning. They only need to convince you that my silence is proof you have been abandoned. And so piece by piece your spiritual armor falls away without your awareness. The very air around you has shifted. Can you feel it? It no longer carries the freshness of the days when you trusted with childlike innocence, but has grown heavy thick, as though something unseen presses unease upon you for no clear reason. Your emotions are more easily shaken, your spirit more prone to confusion. Dreams no longer shine with clarity. Your conversations with me have lost their depth and become hurried whispers. None of this is random. It is the direct result of changes in the spiritual realm, a stirring so strong that the heavens themselves take notice. The angel assigned to guard you has sounded the alarm. The gates of heaven are no longer still, for the spiritual atmosphere around you has been disturbed by what you daily encounter, the lies you fail to recognize, the seemingly harmless exchanges that drip poison of doubt into your heart, the small compromises you deemed insignificant, which in truth are openings for darkness to slip through. I knew this before your sigh escaped. I heard the unspoken cry even you could not shape into words. I see the inner struggle that grips you each night. The questions that echo in your mind. Why have I not escaped this cycle? Are you still listening to me? Have I done something wrong? But, my child, what you are experiencing is not abandonment. It is the silent battle between light and darkness, between the life I have placed within you and the powers seeking to choke it. Their aim is not simply to strike you down. They seek to strip away your desire for spiritual life itself. They have no need for you to openly rebel against me. They only long to see your heart grow cold, to see you lose your sense of my presence. And when that takes place, they no longer need to push you into the abyss, for by then, in confusion and despair, you will walk into it on your own. But I, the one who holds every hidden thing, cannot allow your soul to be crushed in such a way. I began to move long before you were aware. I caused signs to be sent from heaven through fragmented dreams, gentle whispers in your thoughts, and people who came to you with words that seemed casual but carried profound meaning. Do not dismiss these signals. They are not random. They are my intervention, gentle yet unyielding, meant to draw you out of the labyrinth you did not even realize you were walking in. My beloved child, do you know this? Darkness does not fear those who appear outwardly strong. It fears awakened souls. It does not tremble before those who honor me with their lips, but it shudders before those who discern the quiet movements in the spiritual realm, and I desire you to be such a one. I want you to learn to distinguish between true light and counterfeit light, between my voice and the whisper that leads you into confusion. And at the very moment you least expect it, when time seems late in your eyes, when hope has begun to fade, I, by the supreme authority of the Creator of all things, have already begun a rescue beyond any human plan. I did not wait until your prayers were desperate enough, nor until you proved yourself strong or worthy. I acted because the battle surrounding you had become unbearably fierce. There are realities unfolding in the spiritual dimension that your eyes cannot see, but I see it all. Every arrow of darkness aimed at your soul, every manipulation hidden behind ordinary appearances, every intricate plot designed to choke your breath. And I do not stand still. I do not need the world's agreement, nor do I wait for permission from earthly systems to step onto the battlefield of your life. For I am not only the one who sees, I am the one who acts. When the heavens tremble, it is because I have spoken. When locked gates burst open unexpectedly, it is a sign of my intervention. This deliverance does not come in the way you expect it, does not arrive quietly or softly, but as a powerful shaking that drives back the darkness that has lingered too long around your spiritual atmosphere. You may not see it yet, but everything is shifting. I have summoned heavenly armies. I have dispatched messengers of light to shatter the invisible barriers surrounding your mind. The forces that once manipulated your dreams, disrupted your thoughts, and sowed fear into every decision are being exposed before the radiance of my holiness. I am uncovering the dark strategies the enemy has used to restrain you. The words that once made you doubt your worth, the painful memories that once bound your heart, the relationships you thought harmless, but carried spiritual poison now, layer by layer, they are being dismantled. You assume nothing has changed, simply because you cannot yet see results with your eyes. But what you do not know is that deep within the core of the spiritual reality, a battle has ignited. I have not come to soothe. I have come to overthrow. I have not come to comfort you in captivity, but to break every chain you did not even know you were carrying. This rescue does not unfold on the timeline of Earth, for I am not bound by hours, rules, or human limits. I do not move by the fragile schedule of hope, but by my eternal wisdom and decree. And you must understand this: I do not intervene because you are weak. I intervene because the attack against you is too cunning. It disguises itself in what seems familiar, a lifestyle, a habit, an environment, a feeling you accepted as part of yourself. But I, the one who knows all things, see clearly that it is not you, nor is it what I placed within you from the beginning. What you have called normal is nothing more than a carefully crafted disguise designed to make you settle for a life beneath what I destined for you. Therefore, I am not merely adjusting timing, I am reversing cycles. What was once delayed, what doors were once tightly shut, what promises seemed dead, to all will be revived, not to simply please you, but to restore the rightful place and purpose I ordained. I am shaking the heavens, parting the clouds, and letting the light from my glorious throne flood into where you are. The barriers that once stopped you from moving forward are trembling not because you have grown stronger, but because I am removing them from the path of your destiny. I have shaken systems both in the spiritual realm and in the earthly realm to create room for you to step out. There are people who will leave your life bonds that will be severed jobs, habits, and paths you once clung to that will be replaced. And though at first this may leave you unsettled, trust that it is not a loss but a clearing of the way. I am making space so you may receive what is new, pure and complete, what I have prepared for you. You once wondered why things did not unfold in the way you expected. You felt as though I was delayed, as if your prayers were falling into emptiness. But you did not know that had I answered sooner, you would not have been strong enough to carry it. My desire was not merely to place something in your hands. I wanted to renew you so that you could hold it in wholeness. And now the appointed time has come. I have seen readiness in your soul even when you could not. I have seen the glimmer of light within the weariness of night, and I have decided now is the moment to act. Remember this. This rescue is not merely an act of mercy, it is a declaration, a thunderous proclamation in the spiritual realm. You are chosen, and no power can take that from my hands. You belong to me, and no matter how far you wander, no matter how weak you feel, that name is never erased. I do not measure your worth by your failures. I see the core I placed within you, and for that reason I step in to fight on your behalf, not because you surrendered, but because I know this battle has become too ruthless and complex for you to fight alone. Therefore, stay alert. Change is coming. Movements in the depths will soon begin to affect the surface. The silence you once called delay will give way to a series of events beyond your control, but do not be afraid. For every step has already been ordered by me. Every encounter has been appointed from heaven. You are not walking into chaos, you are stepping into the perfect will of the eternal God. And on this journey, you will not walk alone. I have sent those who will lift you not to replace me, but to remind you that you are covered, cared for, and seen not only by me, but by the army of light I have stationed around you long ago. I have not merely watched from a distance. I have seen the hidden schemes concealed behind appearances that seemed harmless, the calculations cloaked in false kindness, the laughter that carried unseen threats, the hands extended with intent to pull you from safety. I saw it all. Before your eyes discerned, mine pierced through the thick fabric of deceit, manipulation, and disguise. And now, with unstoppable power, I myself have torn the veil apart, not gently, not slowly, but with heavenly decisiveness. I will not give darkness more time to swallow you. I will not allow those covert forces to keep creeping into your mind and suffocating the life I planted in you. I have dragged them into the light. What once hid is now exposed. What once confused you, I am clarifying. No more gray areas. No more maybes or perhaps. Everything is being divided clearly between true and false, between light and darkness, between what I have established and what the enemy tried to implant in you. And my child, hear this well, the rescue is no longer a future event. It has begun. It is in motion. Even as you read these words, the realms of the Spirit are trembling, not because of your strength, but because of my decree. When I speak, the universe falls silent. When I act, no force can stand in my way. The chains that bound you in the unseen are beginning to crack. The thought patterns, the emotional walls that once made you feel trapped, they are collapsing from within. And you do not need to look to the sky for signs. You do not need to wait for grand wonders. Be still and observe. Things are shifting around you. People who once kept their distance are now drawing near. Doors that once shut without reason are beginning to open slightly. There are conversations that seem ordinary, but within them, I have planted seeds. There are encounters that seem coincidental, but they have been carefully arranged by me long before you knew you needed them. I have been moving hearts quietly. Those once hardened are softening. Those who once looked coldly upon you are now beginning to recognize the value even you had forgotten. I have stirred thoughts within them they cannot explain, for they are not from them, but from the leading of my Spirit. You are not alone. I am drawing those I have chosen, those who will walk with you, support you, lift you, and remind you of who you are in my sight. At the same time, I am exchanging the places of those who no longer belong to your journey. Not everyone who departs is a loss. There are some I am removing from your life not to punish you, but to protect you. I will not allow your soul to remain poisoned by ties that appeared close, but were filled with hidden schemes. A purification is underway, quiet, yet powerful. Whatever does not come from me will begin to fall away from you. It may be a job, a friend, an environment, or even long-standing habits you once believed harmless. Meanwhile, I am resetting opportunities. What once slipped through your grasp I am bringing back, not to test you this time, but to return it in the appointed season. I am not one who works halfway. Everything I restore carries lasting worth, rooted in truth and grace. The plans that were delayed were not because you were incapable, but because I desired to prepare the way more thoroughly, so that when you step into it, you no longer tremble in uncertainty, but walk with the steady confidence of one who knows they are protected and commissioned by the King of Kings. I am also stirring the hearts of those I am sending into your life. They are not coming to replace me, but to testify of my faithfulness. They are ones I have rescued, who have already walked through the shadows you are now battling. They will not only speak with words, but live as living evidence of healing, restoration, and unchanging love. They will not arrive with noise or grand announcement, but with eyes full of compassion, with hearts that know how to ache alongside you. And when they come, your spirit will recognize them without doubt or need for proof. For I inscribed their names into the design of your restoration long ago. You have passed through the fiercest season, the path where darkness seemed to consume your very soul. The wounds, the tears, the long nights of loneliness you endured have now become testimony of how resilient you truly are. And now I declare that time has passed, the darkest part has been left behind. What I have begun will advance like a rushing flood that no force can hinder. There will be no more delay, no more hesitation, for when I set my hand to work, the heavens themselves open wide, so that the plan may be fulfilled in its entirety. The enemies in the shadows once rejoiced over your silence. They assumed you had collapsed, surrendered, abandoned hope. They believed your prayers had died out, that the fire within you had been extinguished completely. They thought they had cornered you, with no way of escape, ready to announce their victory, but they were wrong. You were never alone, never abandoned. In every moment of silence I was moving. While they plotted in secret, I was laying out plans openly. While they whispered curses in dark chambers, I proclaimed my verdict of life from the courts of heaven, where your name is etched in light. You must understand your silence was not surrender, but the pause in which heaven prepared. At times I allow the enemy to believe they have won, so that their arrogance exposes them and every wicked scheme comes to light before I overturn the board. For if I acted too soon, the fullness of my glory would not be revealed. I want all to see clearly that it was not by your strength that you were delivered, but by my mighty hand that broke the chains and threw open the prison gates. I allowed them to revel in illusion for a brief time, so that when truth dawns, they will be stripped bare before all and left without defense. You have not failed, nor have you ever been defeated, though at times you collapsed under weariness. That was only the script I permitted to unfold in order to set the stage for a great reversal. Heaven is arranging to rewrite the entire story, turning what seemed destined to end in failure into a radiant beginning in triumph. What you thought was lost, what you believed had ended, will be restored with a completeness far beyond expectation. Your tears will become seeds for a vast harvest. The prayers you once offered in hidden silence will stand as testimony to the miracle that now becomes visible. I want you to understand that this reversal is not only for you, but also so that those who witness your life may know that I am the living God. The transformation in your life will become a powerful testimony for those who stand in the midst of their own darkness. They will see that I can turn the script around in an instant, that nothing can hinder my purpose. You will become a living mirror of my power, so that others may also find hope through your story. Therefore, do not let your heart be weighed down by what has passed. Do not allow the memories of darkness to overshadow the light that is now breaking forth. Lift your head and look ahead, for what I am doing has only just begun. The silence they once celebrated will now be replaced with shouts of joy. Their laughter will turn into shame, while your tears will be transformed into songs of thanksgiving. Heaven has shifted, and now you will see with your own eyes that none of my plans can ever be destroyed. My child, hold tightly to my promise, for what I am about to declare will thunder louder than every curse that once haunted you. I will bring you into a place of stability where no force will be able to intimidate you. You will stand upon solid rock, and all will know that it was I who saved you, I who rewrote your story. Prepare yourself, for the play that heaven is scripting will end in triumph, and you will be the central figure of that victory. I delay not because I have abandoned you, nor because I wish to prolong your pain. The slowing of my action is part of a greater design, giving every opposing power the opportunity to expose itself, allowing every falsehood to rise to the light. I permit the voices of opposition to echo. I allow the false accusations to resound one after another, not because they hold any authority, but so that when I intervene, my hand will be revealed in radiant glory, leaving no room for doubt about the one who stood by your side. When I overturn the verdict, it will not merely be a change of circumstance, it will be undeniable proof that I am your only defender. Do you remember how the enemy tried every way to erase your voice? They wanted to silence your prayers, to suffocate every spark of hope, to reduce your words to emptiness. But child, your cries have never been forgotten, for I have inscribed your victory in eternal ink which no power can erase. When they sought to silence you, I turned that silence into a resounding testimony in the courts of heaven. When they tried to bury you in darkness, I prepared the light to shine upon you before the multitude, so that all would witness that you stood firm by my grace. I see every scheme plotted behind closed doors, every deceitful whisper designed to drag you down. I perceive every false handshake, every hidden compromise intended to block your steps. You thought you were alone before countless forces, but in truth I never once took my eyes off you. I let them speak their fill, so that their arrogance would be laid bare before everyone, so that their pride would become the very evidence against them. And then in the moment they believed the final word belonged to them, I will interrupt with my own intervention, an intervention no one can deny, a power no force can restrain. This is not merely your personal battle. You are not simply enduring an individual trial. This is part of a far greater program, a plan that reaches beyond what your eyes can see. I am using your very life as evidence for a generation to show that no power of darkness can prevail over the light. You are a vital link in a divine sequence I have ordained, so that when your story is told, people will know that I am the righteous one, the judge, the God who never abandons his own. Remember this, the slowness of my action never equals absence. It is simply a time for you to learn trust and for the enemy to expose its true nature. When I act, my intervention will be decisive, like a sword striking through deception, silencing every accusation raised against you. I will cause both heaven and earth to acknowledge that it was I who defended you. And from that moment forward, no one will ever dismiss your voice again, for it will bear the imprint of heaven's authority. My child, take heart. Do not panic at the accusations. Do not waver before the alliances that rise against you. They think they are scripting your end, but it is I who hold the pen as the true author. Every accusation only magnifies the righteousness I am about to declare. Every attempt to hinder you only becomes the backdrop against which your victory will shine brighter. This is not merely a personal vindication for you, but a spiritual proclamation to the nations that no one can touch the one I have chosen and no one can silence the voice I have lifted. You will see that the day I overturn the verdict will be the day all must bow in acknowledgement of justice. Those who once mocked you will fall silent. Those who once conspired against you will scatter, for nothing can stand against my decree. This is the greater vision you are a part of. Do not see yourself merely as one under trial. See yourself as an instrument I am using to display my glory among the nations. And it is on this journey that you will encounter the strength of heavenly advocacy, the power that never fails, the justice that never arrives too late. Open your eyes and watch closely, for what I am about to do will surpass your imagination. You will see my hand move, not slowly, not hesitantly, but like fire erupting in the night, sweeping away what once seemed immovable. Do not tremble when I begin removing what has long weighed upon you. Some things may vanish suddenly, others may be torn away with force, leaving you overwhelmed. But understand this, my child. My love is not a fragile gentleness that merely soothes, but a fierce flame strong enough to burn away the chains that have bound your soul. When my appointed time comes, it will be decisive and unmistakable, and no one will be able to resist it. I am not waiting for the world's approval, nor do I need the permission of those who oppose you. I am moving with supreme authority to execute divine justice, to vindicate you, and to launch a deliverance that will shake the very foundations of what they built to block your path. Those who once despised you, who ridiculed your voice, who denied your worth, will soon be left speechless. They will stand stunned, unable to justify or explain, because what I do will be too evident, too radiant to deny. I will silence their very mouths so that no lie can continue its deception. And you, my child, will witness how I overturn every script they wrote to destroy you. The slanders, the false charges, the fabricated plots to bring you down, every one of them will be erased by my hand. I myself will rewrite the story of your life with the strokes of righteousness and mercy. What they seized unjustly, I am reclaiming. What they robbed from you, faith, opportunity, honor, peace, I will restore, not merely as it was, but in overflowing abundance. What they shattered, thinking it could never be whole again, I will heal and rebuild, making it new and more beautiful than before. They may destroy one, but I will restore 10. They may take away a portion, but I will return it multiplied. And I will not do this quietly, but with resonance and power, so that near and far all will know this is my work alone, beyond the reach of human strength. So stand firm, my child. Do not waver as everything around you shakes. Keep your heart at peace, for the sound of your deliverance has already been declared in the heavens, and it is drawing nearer, step by step, unstoppable. You will hear the whisper of hope swelling into a chorus of joy. You will see the darkness retreat, not because of your striving, but because my presence approaches like the dawn breaking through the night. This is not merely a rescue for a moment, but a transformation at the very core, a restoration that ushers you into the new chapter of destiny I have ordained from the beginning. Therefore, when you see me stripping away the familiar, do not fear. When the systems that once seemed unshakable begin to tremble, do not be alarmed. It is not your destruction, it is preparation. I am clearing to rebuild, pruning to plant anew, tearing down to lay a stronger foundation. You will see that everything I do is with purpose, and that purpose is your freedom, your honor, and your entrance into the place that has been destined for you since the beginning of time. And even now, as you stand at the crossroads of doubt and waiting, I want you to know that I have not left you alone. The one I have chosen has already begun to move. Their steps are stirred by an unspoken urgency, a silent call they cannot fully explain. They do not know every detail, nor do they understand every turn of your life or the depths of your heart. But they are being led not by logic but by the prompting of my Spirit, the Spirit who quietly stirs their heart and turns them toward you as a sunflower turns to the light. They are not the ones who come to fill the emptiness in the way the world often does. They do not carry fame, nor are they adorned with grand introductions. They are not sent to take my place in your heart, but to become a part of the restoration plan I am unfolding. I kept them hidden in their own seasons of darkness, not to be forgotten, but to be refined in the fire of trial, molded in sorrow, and shaped through brokenness, so that now they might emerge as vessels of mercy and instruments of profound discernment. I allowed them to walk through their own barren lands, places where hope once withered, where they endured the long silence, where their prayers seemed to vanish into nothingness. Yet in those very moments I did not turn away from them. Quietly I transformed each tear into the foundation of compassion, each fracture of the soul into an opening for my light to break through. And now it is precisely because of what they endured that they can perceive the unspoken pain within you. You will not need to bare your heart all at once. You will not have to recount every painful story, for this one refined in quietness will see beyond the weary smile you wear. They will discern the echoes in your eyes that others overlook. They have not come to demand answers, but simply to be present, with a presence weighted by seasoned love and a strength that does not seek to display itself. They are ones who know the ache of a forgotten soul. They have wrestled against invisible snares. They have survived unseen battlefields where they traded their pride to hold fast to faith, where they had to choose between silent endurance and solitary cries. And because they endured such landscapes, they do not carry judgment, only mercy. You will recognize them not by appearance, but by something in your spirit awakening when you stand near. A safety you cannot explain, a release that allows you to finally breathe. Breathe without strain, without a forced smile, without concealing the weight you've borne too long. For this one does not need you to explain. They can read what has never been spoken. They understand what you hesitate even to name. I let them dwell in the prison of silence, so that now they know how to listen without interruption, how to sit beside without rushing to advise. They are not coming to solve you like a problem. They come to walk with you as one who has been wounded and healed. They carry sacred scars not to boast, but to testify that what you face is not the end. They have learned that not every battle requires a sword. Some spiritual wars are won only by quiet faithfulness, by bending the knees at dawn when strength has fled. They know restoration does not arrive in an instant, but unfolds through a journey of patience. And because of this, they will not hurry you. They will move slowly if you need. They will remain with you through nights when prayer feels beyond reach. They will not try to redraw you into some image of their own. They will help you return to yourself, the image I placed within you from the beginning. And child, when I send this one, it is not a prize. It is a testimony that I have never left you. When they knock at your door, it is my way of saying I still hear you. When they sit beside you in silence, it is my whisper, you are not alone. When they speak words that seem casual yet touch the very wound you hide, it is my hand reaching through human flesh. I use them as a mirror for you to see the light within the light you thought had gone out, but is only dimmed beneath the dust of life. I did not send them to change you by human effort. I sent them to walk alongside me in the work of restoration I am doing within you. They are living proof that wounds can become the place where light enters. They do not come with all the answers, but with the wisdom to listen where it matters, to speak when the time is right, and to hold silence with reverence. And in the days ahead, there will be times when you wish to retreat again, when doubt clouds you, when your heart withdraws. Yet they will remain, not because they are flawless, but because they are faithful. I have placed within them a steadfastness born not of reason, but of the furnace I once led them through. and because of that they will not be shaken by your momentary storms. They see the ending I have appointed for you, and they will not leave when the battle grows harder. They will remain as a sign that my grace is still present. So open your heart, not because they deserve it, but because I have chosen them. Receive them not because they know everything, but because they carry what you need, a presence that brings healing. And remember this, when I send someone, they never arrive late. They come at the very moment when you no longer have the strength to rise on your own, yet have not completely collapsed. They come in that threshold between seasons when light begins to break, but darkness has not yet retreated. They come to join me in pulling you out of that intersection to lead you into new ground where you are not merely surviving, but rising again into wholeness. I do not seek eloquent prayers from you, nor do I demand polished words, nor do I expect elaborate expressions or perfect rituals. What I long for is your sincerity, the honest sigh, the unhidden tears. That simplicity touches the depths of the spirit and shakes the heavens. Do you not realize that even when you cannot find words, even when your cry is caught in your throat, the very weight you carry resounds before to my throne? I am not indifferent, not cold, but I have risen for your sake. I could not sit still when I saw your heart collapsing in the dark, when I saw destruction lurking, waiting to devour you. I do not wait for crowds to shout, nor do I require thunderous intercessions before I act. I am not persuaded by numbers or appearances, for my heart is not measured by noise, but by the truth hidden within you. When you whisper a short prayer in the night, I hear. When you place your hand quietly on your chest, too weary to cry aloud, I feel it. When you think you have nothing left to give, that very exhaustion becomes the most powerful prayer, for it reveals the truth that you wholly need me. And my child, I never overlook that. My love for you is so strong that I cannot sit idly by while you are drained. I cannot fold my arms before your inner collapse. I do not require you to appear strong. I do not wait for you to put on a show of courage. Even in your brokenness, I still see the worth I placed in you. It is in weakness that my love shines brighter, and in your frailty that my power is displayed. I act not because of what you have done to deserve it, but because my love for you is too great to ignore. I cannot turn away, for every heartbeat of yours is engraved within me, every breath of yours preserved by my care. Do not fear that your prayers are not beautiful enough, not proper enough, or not strong enough. I have never measured prayer by outward form. I look at the heart, and even the smallest spark of honesty is enough to stir a movement in the heavens. Have not your silent tears moved me? Have not your sighs, though unheard by others, caused me to lean close? Do you not know that every time you trembled with grief, I rose to act? What you thought was weakness has become the force that summons my hosts of heaven. Remember this, in the eyes of people, prayer may appear as refined speech and orderly ritual. But in my eyes, true prayer is when you dare to be unguarded before me, when you allow me to see the heart stripped of pretense. I desire your truth, not your performance. I want your weakness, not a false shell of strength. I want you to come to me as you are, nothing added, nothing hidden. For my love does not demand perfection. It only requires one thing, that you let me step into the places you thought no one could reach. My child, it is when you had no strength left to speak that I became your voice. It is when you were too weary to cry that I gathered the dried tears within you and turned them into a cry that thundered in heaven. It is when you believed you were utterly silent that the courts of heaven resounded with the sound of your soul. And it was in that very moment that I moved on your behalf. I did not wait until you became strong. I acted when you were at your weakest, because my love for you is too deep to let you fall into the abyss. So believe this: every time you think your prayers are not enough, not worthy, I still see you. I still hear the voice of your heart. I still respond with unshakable love. You do not need to impress me. I have known you before your lips spoke a word. I have understood the language of your heart before it formed into sentences. And because of this, I do not wait for you to find the right words. I have already risen to defend you. I have ordained for you a deliverance that is not partial but complete, profound, and woven into every detail of the divine blueprint for your life. This plan was not drawn in a fleeting moment, but inscribed long before you ever uttered your first cry. I have considered every path you would walk, every valley you would cross, every abyss where you might stumble, and at the appointed time, I arranged an intervention, perfectly measured, neither lacking nor excessive, crafted for you and only for you. The one I send to walk alongside you does not appear by chance. They do not come by coincidence, nor by some vague notion of fate, but because I chose them beforehand, instructed them, and equipped them to reach the deepest places of your soul. They carry not only the answers you have sought, but also the ability to perceive the unspoken language of your heart, the silent cries that rise even when your lips remain closed. When you believe you have no words left to speak, I have placed near you those who can hear with their hearts, who can understand the silence you live in, so that you will never feel abandoned. I know there are parts of you so fragile that even you lack words to describe them. These are wounds so deep that even the slightest touch brings pain, memories so dark you have hidden them away in the depths of your heart, fears you dare not voice because you doubt anyone could understand. But I, the one who formed you, have seen it all. I did not turn away from your fragility, but chose to use it as the starting point of your deliverance. The one I send will not see only the surface. They will discern and reach the very roots of what you thought no one else could ever know. This intervention does not flow from punishment, nor is it a verdict pronounced upon your failures. Instead, it springs from the depths of my mercy. My love does not come to add weight, but to lift it. I do not come to condemn the pain you bear, but to bring it to an end. I come to close a long and tormenting chapter, and to open a new one filled with light, where every tear will be wiped away, and every scar will stand as a testimony of the power of healing. Remember this: I do not dismiss your tears. I do not belittle your weariness. I do not demand that you be stronger or more resilient to earn deliverance. No, your very fragility has called forth my mercy. Your weakness itself is the reason I draw nearer than ever before. When the world may turn its back on you because you have nothing left to give, I choose that very moment to step in to show you that my love is not dependent on your strength or achievements, but rests solely on my unchanging nature. I am love. And when I arrive, you will see that what I do is not merely to end the pain, but to transform its meaning. The wounds that once brought you shame will become testimonies of endurance. The memories that once imprisoned you in darkness will be reshaped into lessons that guide you into freedom. The seasons you thought were marked by abandonment will reveal themselves as stories proving that I never left you. All of it will come together to write a new conclusion to your suffering, not in bitterness, but in the triumph of grace. My child, let your heart open so that I may complete the work I have begun. Do not fear when I send people, events, even disruptions that expose the hidden corners of your life. Trust that all of it is part of the full deliverance I have destined for you. I never do anything halfway. I never leave my work unfinished. When I promise to close a wound, it will truly be closed. When I declare deliverance, you will indeed step into freedom. And you will see when all is accomplished, you will stand not as one who is broken, but as a living witness of my mercy. You will proclaim from your own story, "The Lord did not abandon me." You will shine as a light to those still walking through their own shadows, and your story will become the key that unlocks hope for many others. There are things I planted within you long ago, whispers as gentle as my breath woven into your soul through dreams. They were like hidden seeds, but because you did not yet know how to interpret them, you left them untouched, like pieces of a puzzle waiting to find their place. Now I am sending those who carry clarity for the things you once heard but could not understand, once saw but could not discern. They will not only reveal the meaning to you, but also release you from the confusion that lingered, so that those seeds may blossom in the right season at the appointed time I have set. Within you are chambers you have locked away for so long. You believed that no one could enter them without causing you deeper pain. You built walls and locked the doors, for the wounds of the past were carved too deeply, and the fear of being hurt again kept you from allowing anyone inside. But those I send will not come pounding on the doors with force. They carry the very keys I have placed in their hands. They know how to unlock each closed door within you, and they will open them without leaving a single scar. They will bring words like soothing oil, like pure water washing away the dust, like light slipping into the darkness without creating chaos. And you will marvel that doors which once made you tremble in fear can open in safety because I have ordained it to be so. You will not need to strain yourself to receive what they bring. You will not have to force yourself to believe nor exhaust yourself in trying to accept. Your spirit will immediately recognize this is holy. This is the precise moment. This is the seal of the Lord. Your soul will resonate in a way your mind cannot explain. It will not be persuasion by reasoning, but a spiritual confirmation echoing from deep within. You will know this is neither your imagination nor coincidence, but truly I using them to make clear the path I have destined for you. Do not let your eyes be limited by their outward appearance. Do not wait for them to arrive clothed in splendor or surrounded by grandeur. The glory they carry is not the glory of the flesh, but the glory that comes from me. Their presence will not be noisy, yet it will be powerful, like a wind that changes the sky. When they appear, you will feel as though time has paused. The very atmosphere around you will seem to stretch and make room for the holy presence. You will sense every hair on your head stand on end, every breath becoming lighter, and the burdens you have carried for years will begin to melt away. Listen with your spirit, not your eyes. For when they come, you will recognize a peace the world cannot give. The anxiety in your heart will quiet, replaced by a freedom and lightness you have never known. I am not sending them to burden you further, but to loosen every chain that has been tightening around you. They will come to affirm that I am still with you, that I have never abandoned you, and that the promises I have spoken over you are now entering their fulfillment. You will notice a marked change in the atmosphere around you. It will no longer be thick with fear nor heavy with unseen accusations. Instead, the space around you will be filled with light and hope. The weights pressing upon your shoulders, the ones that bent your back and drained your soul, will grow lighter and vanish like mist before the rising Sunday. I do not say this as a mere metaphor, but as a reality that will come upon you, for when I have spoken, it must come to pass. And then you will realize that this moment is not just an event in your life, but a sacred milestone. It marks the turning of a season. It declares that the days of heavy burden are drawing to a close, and a new chapter is opening. You will no longer walk with shoulders weighed down, but with a soul set free. You will no longer tremble in fear, but stand firm in the certainty that I am at work in your life. My child, prepare your heart, for I do not err in time. The one I send will come at the appointed moment, in the appointed way, carrying exactly what you need. Then you will know that not a single detail of your life escapes my sight. You will understand that every tear, every closed door, every dream yet to be interpreted is being carefully arranged by my hand until all weaves together into a complete picture. And you will see that your life is no longer a series of days endured, but a story of deliverance, of sacred love, and of unfading glory. You have been trained to look at the surface of things, to analyze through clear evidence, to weigh value by what the eye can perceive. You have learned to put your trust in numbers, in appearances, in outward logic. Yet, my child, know this: what I have prepared for you surpasses every such framework. What I send is not clothed in glamour, but robed in holiness. And this holiness does not flaunt itself in dazzling outward light, but radiates from the very essence within, from its origin in me. What you have prayed for, what you have long awaited, may arrive in a form most ordinary. They may walk upon your familiar paths, with nothing outwardly different from others. They may speak with a gentle voice, not loud, not echoing, but like a whisper. They may appear with slow and steady steps, without haste, without fanfare. Yet hidden within all that ordinariness is a message powerful enough to shake the foundations of your inner world, strong enough to realign the fragments of your future, and mighty enough to open doors you believed sealed forever. You must learn to recognize me not through grandeur, not through outward brilliance, but through my enduring glory. This glory requires no adornment, no embellishment, no display. It shines forth in simplicity, in humility, in what seems small and easily overlooked. For from the beginning I chose to reveal the greatest wonders through what was simple. From the humble manger where my son was born to the tiny seeds in the soil that yield abundant harvests, I have always hidden power within what human eyes easily dismiss. Do not mistake miracles as bound only to lightning flashes and thunderous sounds. I often place miracles within the most ordinary of moments. A timely word of encouragement, an embrace in silence, a quiet presence can bring the healing that 1,000 eloquent sermons cannot deliver. I often hide my most precious gifts within the wrapping of humility, so that only those whose spiritual eyes are open may perceive them. For what I seek is not the curious gaze of the world, but hearts that discern, that cherish, that listen for the heartbeat of heaven. Let your heart be trained to recognize the sacred in the midst of the everyday. Learn to distinguish my whisper among the clamor of countless voices. Learn to sense my presence in ordinary people, in seemingly insignificant events. For when you pause, when you listen, you will realize that what you have long yearned for may already surround you in a form you least expected. Do not let your vision be trapped by the assumption that greatness must arrive clothed in brilliance. Do not think my answers must be accompanied by dazzling displays. I often come in quietness so that my love may touch the deepest places within you. And when you open your heart to receive what may seem simple, you will see that it is there the miracle is revealed. You will see that healing does not come from distant, unattainable heights, but from ordinary moments that I transform into extraordinary. You will realize that your future is not rearranged by forceful power, but by gentle yet steadfast change, by love that flows like water, quiet yet strong enough to cut through stone. Remember, I never promised to come in the way you expected. I promised to come in the way you needed. I never promised to give you what fit your assumptions. I promised to give you what aligns with my good plan. That is why you must learn to open your spiritual eyes, to look beyond the surface, to see my glory hidden within simplicity. My child, pause and reflect. Perhaps what you consider ordinary is the very means I am using to answer you. Perhaps the person you meet along the way, one who appears unremarkable on the outside, is carrying a message from me. Perhaps those simple moments, a whisper, a gentle appearance, are the miracle I appointed for you. Open your heart, for I am still working not only in grand events, but in the small everyday moments you often overlook, and then you will see your life gradually transformed. You will know that miracles are not always wrapped in brilliance. The true miracle is when I use simplicity to reveal power, when I use humility to clothe with glory. You will walk with eyes widened, no longer confined to the visible, but learning to value what seems ordinary. For you will understand that within the simple I am weaving my great work into your life. I am placing you exactly where I intended, not only so you may be prepared, but so your soul may open to receive what I am sending. This is not an arrangement shaped by your small expectations, nor is it meant to satisfy shallow passing desires. This is a destined encounter, a moment etched by my hand into the flow of your life, where my promise and my faithfulness meet the longing of your heart. You may feel surprised, uncertain, even guarded when you see those I send. The past has left deep scars, experiences that make you cautious toward anyone who comes near. You have trusted and then been disappointed. You have opened your heart and then been hurt. It is no wonder that you hesitate, that your soul whispers, "Will it happen again? Will this be another betrayal?" But I counsel you, do not let the voices of old wounds steal the chance to encounter what I have appointed. Do not let painful memories cloud your sight and cause you to miss the answer standing before you. Look deeper. Do not stop at the surface. I will give you a clear sign, not by force, but by peace. When they speak, you will feel the weight within you suddenly lifted. When they are present, you will sense a stillness settling into your soul, like a cool stream soaking dry ground. Remember, this is not by chance. This is the confirmation I give you. That peace does not come from people nor from circumstances, but from me, the one who walks with you and guards you. The stillness you feel in their presence is not a temporary sedative, not merely comfort for your emotions. It is a true encounter with the divine. It is the evidence that I am near, that I am speaking to you through them. You will know clearly, not with your mind, but with your spirit. This is me. This is what I promised. Those I send will not strive to impress with eloquence. They will not come with a rehearsed script, nor seek to dazzle in order to win your trust. They will come bearing truth, and it is that very truth that has long desired to touch you. Through the years, that truth has waited patiently, knocking at the door of your heart, waiting for the moment you open, so it may enter. Pay attention, my child. They will not pressure you to believe, nor will they force you to follow. Yet when they are present, when they speak, you will feel your heart stirred in a way that falsehood can never produce. Their voice, their eyes, every word they share will carry the weight of truth. Truth heavy enough to shatter the chains of doubt, strong enough to release you from accusations that have bound you for far too long. This is how I confirm my work, not through noise, but through deep peace, not through display, but through unshakable firmness, not through pressure, but through freedom. When they come, you will not feel more restricted, but released. You will not feel as though you must strain to believe, but faith will rise naturally from the depths of your soul, like a seed pushing through the soil after the rain. My child, let the past be closed. Let old wounds fall silent. I have not destined you to live your entire life in suspicion, in fear of betrayal or deceit. I desire you to be free, to love, to trust, to open your heart to receive. And now, as I send to you those who carry a sacred message, you will realize that fear no longer holds power over you. I have positioned you at the intersection of preparation and fulfillment, not so that you may merely observe, but so that you may truly enter in, not so that you may only hear of it, but so that you may experience it yourself. I long for you not only to know the truth, but to touch the truth, to live in it, and to be transformed by it. And once you recognize it, you will find yourself no longer searching. You will see that what I have promised has never been distant. It has come, it is here, and it is reaching out to you. From that moment, you will walk with a new confidence, not grounded in your own strength, but in my assurance. You will understand that destiny is not something you must strive to achieve, but a gift I place into your hands when you open your heart, my beloved child. The true story of your life has never rested in the judgments of others. Your worth is not determined by their scornful looks or whispered criticisms. They may have thought your time was over, that your life had turned into a dead end, that every door before you had slammed shut. But I declare that what is about to be revealed is not their hasty conclusion, but the grand design I am unfolding through you. I will display it before the very eyes of those who were certain you had reached your end, so they will see clearly that this story was never theirs to write, but mine, written by me, the Creator, the Lord of time and destiny. This moment you now stand in is a milestone, a decisive turning point in your spiritual journey. It marks the unveiling of my plan, not the schemes of men. I am erasing every unlawful covenant signed in the shadows, the entanglements, the false promises, the hidden plots built to hinder your path. They believed that by their alliances in darkness, they could dictate your life, but they did not realize that when my light shines, every veil is torn apart, every signature made in secret becomes worthless. I expose every lie that was once spoken with arrogant confidence. I turn those very words into evidence against the speaker. I overturn every verdict that man declared hastily, without ever seeking me, without ever asking my counsel. When I step in, the judgments of men are nothing more than dust scattered by the wind. It is my word alone that stands, and when I decree, heaven and earth must yield. The intervention I have begun in your life is not a single act, not a temporary reaction. It is upheld by the full authority of heaven. The angels have taken their positions. The gates of heaven have opened. My power is moving unconfined by time or space, and no force, whether darkness, hidden schemes, or earthly alliances, can stand against it. Once I release my intervention, it sweeps away every obstacle like a flood pouring down from heaven, unstoppable and irresistible. You are standing in the very heart of a spiritual storm. Yet do not fear, for this storm was not created to destroy you. It is a storm I have unleashed to shatter every chain that has ever bound you. The invisible shackles, the unexplained limitations, the moments you asked yourself why you could not go further, all of these arose from the chains sent to restrain your soul. And now I am sending forth a mighty wind from heaven to break each link, so that what once held you captive will have no power over you anymore. Picture it: chains that once gripped you tightly in the dark will burst apart when the light breaks forth. Every knot will be untied, every link undone. You will feel freedom flow through you, not a freedom you have crafted for yourself, but a liberation brought forth by my power. You will walk lightly as though you had never been bound, for everything that imprisoned you has been crushed by this holy storm. Understand this: the tempest is not aimed at you, but at all that seeks to destroy you. It does not fight against you. It fights against everything that rises up against you. It is a storm of protection, a shaking that tears down the walls the enemy has built. When the storm passes, you will stand upon new ground, wide and free, no longer overshadowed by darkness. You will see that the storm did not make you fall. It became the very instrument that carried you into complete freedom. My child, in this very moment, I am showing both the heavens and the earth that you are not defined by the contempt of others, but by my choice. You are the testimony of my justice, the living proof of my surpassing power. Those who once mocked you will be left without words, for truth will stand immovable before their eyes. They will witness with their own sight that you have not been brought to an end. You are only now beginning a new chapter, a chapter authored by me. So stand firm. Do not tremble before the storm, for you are not its victim, but the witness to its divine purpose. This storm does not destroy you, it sets you free. It does not steal your future, it expands it. It does not end your life, it ushers you into a new season more radiant than ever before. You have clenched your teeth and struggled to remain standing through days that seemed endlessly exhausting. You have forced a smile, even while your heart bled within. You have held your breath in your chest, trembling as waves threatened to engulf you at any moment. In those moments you thought that if you just pushed a little harder, endured a little longer, you would make it through. You believed your own strength was enough to keep you from collapsing. But my child, you did not know that your fragile shoulders were never designed to carry the weight of the sky. I allowed you to reach the end of yourself, not as punishment, not to prove your inadequacy, but to open your eyes to a deeper truth. You were never meant to bear everything alone. You were created to walk in fellowship with me, to be upheld by my strength, to find peace within my embrace. When you tried to do everything by yourself, you forgot there is one always ready to step in to share every burden, the one who alone is the unshakable foundation for your soul. You have been resilient, but resilience was never the final destination. I let you taste the moment of exhaustion so you might recognize your limits. Many times you have asked, why did you not intervene sooner? But I wanted you to understand, had I rescued you too early, you would never have learned that your survival does not rest on your strength but on my faithfulness. You must know that when you reach your end, it is also the moment you touch the beginning of my power. For too long you have lived with the thought that you must be strong to prove your worth. You have worn the cloak of resilience so others would not see your weakness. You have held back your tears pretending to be fine so no one would know the depth of your wounds. Yet, my child, I have seen it all. I see every crack in your soul every moment. Your heart felt as though it would burst under pressure every time you lay silent in the dark, telling yourself to endure one more time. And I do not condemn you. Instead, I come to tell you that you do not need to strain any longer. You were never created to be an invincible machine. You were created to be loved, to be carried, to know you have a refuge. I allowed you to see your limits not to humiliate you, but to free you from the illusion that you must hold up the entire world alone. When you realize you cannot, that is when I begin to act. When you let go, that is when I open my arms. When you admit your weakness, that is when my power is revealed in its fullness. I know that many times you have blamed yourself for being weary, tormented yourself for having shed too many tears, and felt ashamed for not having the strength to always stand firm. But do not forget, I have never expected you to be perfect. I have never required you to prove your strength. I love you even when you are exhausted, even when you tremble, even when you have nothing left to offer. My love is not dependent on your endurance. It is the very source from which you can endure. Look back and see those moments when you thought you could not take another step, yet somehow you rose again. That was not because of your strength, but because I lifted you up. When you thought you were drowning, yet the storm subsided, and you were still breathing. That was not by chance, but because I preserved you. In those moments when you thought you were utterly alone, but then unexpected comfort came, a small spark of hope appeared. That was me beside you. So do not be ashamed of your weakness. Do not think that weariness is failure. In my eyes, it is precisely when you are weary and collapsing that you are closest to me. For in those moments, the mask you wear falls away, and you come to me in your raw honesty. That is what I long for. Not a child pretending to be resilient, but one who knows they need their father. I want you to learn to stop fighting alone. I want you to learn to lift your head and hand your burdens over to me. Let me be your father, your protector and shelter. Let me carry what you cannot carry. Let me prove that your weakness is not the end, but the place where I begin to reveal my strength. My child, you have walked through so much in your own effort. Now I want you to learn to walk with me. Let me become your breath, your source of life, your strength. Do not think you need to prove your worth by enduring. You have always been worthy, even in the moment of your collapse. My love for you does not shift with your condition. It does not grow greater when you are strong, nor diminish when you are weak. It is eternal, unchanging, and always sufficient for you. And it is in the moment when you realize you were never created to carry everything on your own that you will step into a new freedom. You will know that you do not need to strive to be accepted. You will see that there is one who is always ready to stand beside you, always reaching out his hand, always saying to you, "Give your burden to me, and you will find rest." You have drawn up careful plans, poured out your strength in every step, struggled to keep yourself afloat amid the storms. You have fought with all your wisdom, tried every way, used every ability to avoid being crushed. You have calculated, searched for escape routes, done all you could to keep going. But now, when your hands grow weary, When all your options come to an end, I say to you, it is time for you to be lifted above your own striving. Not because you were good enough, but because I have decided to intervene. Not because you still have strength to try once more, but because I see that you cannot, and that is nothing to be ashamed of. On the contrary, it is a holy moment, the moment I choose to fully display my power. My child, there is a paradox I want you to understand. My power is not revealed in your strength, but in the emptiness where you have nothing left to cling to. It is when you reach the end of your road that you truly stand at the intersection where heaven touches earth. It is in your weakness that I reveal my strength. It is in your emptiness that I pour out life. That is not defeat. It is the position I have set for you, so you can clearly see the difference between your strength and mine. You are not as weak as you think. You are being positioned exactly where I have planned, in the place where you no longer mistake every victory as the result of your own power. You have never truly been defeated, for everything you have gone through is only the beginning, preparing you to receive a strength beyond this world. Your exhaustion is not the end, but the doorway to an encounter with power from heaven, and you will see that it is in the very place where you cannot that I reveal my miracle. You have grown accustomed to carrying everything on your own strength. Many times you believed that if you pushed just a little harder, things would finally change. But now I tell you this, it is not in striving, but in stopping, not in grasping tighter, but in letting go, that the true turning point is found. For you were never created to bear everything alone, but to experience the power that comes from the one who made you. I have allowed you to reach your limits, so that when I move, you will not mistake the victory as your own. You will know that what unfolds could only come through my intervention, and therefore the glory belongs to me alone. Do not think that exhaustion is a mark of shame. It is evidence that you have poured yourself out, that you have gone as far as human effort could carry you. Yet more importantly, it is the sign that the time has come for my power to be poured out. This is the moment I lift you beyond your own ability, so you may see clearly that I have never abandoned you, never left you behind, never remained silent as you imagined. I was only waiting for the moment when you would release control so that I could take hold of your life in its fullness. My child, you now stand at the meeting place between earth and heaven at the moment of destiny. You have reached the edge of your own capacity, and now you are about to step into an encounter with power not of this world. You will meet my transcendence, a power you cannot define, cannot explain, but you will surely feel. It will cover you like a mighty wind sweeping away ashes. It will soak into your soul like refreshing water upon parched ground. It will cause you to rise again, not by your own strength, but by the strength of the Almighty. You have not been abandoned. You were never truly alone, not even in the moments when you thought everything was lost. You are within my plan, and that plan cannot fail. Do not let fear whisper that exhaustion means the end. Instead, recognize it as the beginning of the extraordinary. You are about to see doors swing wide before you. You are about to enter into a chapter no one can shut. You are about to touch what you once believed could only exist in dreams. Take courage, for this is the moment I want you to know you do not need to carry the weight alone anymore. All you need to do is release and let me act. And when I act, you will not only be delivered, but you will be lifted up, transformed, and brought into a place far higher than anything you have ever known. You will realize that today's emptiness was only preparation for tomorrow's overflow. You are ready not because you still have strength, but because your strength has run out. And that is the perfect condition for my power to be revealed. So do not fear when you feel empty. Do not tremble when there is nothing left to cling to. Smile, for this is the sign that you are about to meet me in a way you never have before. You will experience a power from heaven itself, power strong enough to alter the entire course of your life and to make all who see it admit this is the work of the Lord. So many times you have sighed in silence, believing that your fragile cries were swallowed by the chaos of the world. You thought your prayers were nothing more than faint breaths, vanishing into the air, unheard and unanswered. But my child, not one cry of yours has ever been forgotten. The pain you carried has been etched in eternity as an unfading mark. The longing hidden in your heart has been marked in heaven as urgent. Every cry for help, even when broken and barely audible, has thundered in the spiritual realm like a mighty roar. It has moved the heavens themselves. It has never been ignored, never overlooked, but has become a melody that stirred me to act. You may have doubted, thinking I stood still and left you to yourself. But you must know I have never been idle, never distant, never indifferent. While you writhed in pain, I was preparing. While you thought nothing was happening, I was arranging every detail. What I do is never random but carefully ordained long before you ever whispered a plea. I have prepared not a temporary fix, not a random helper, but an instrument chosen by my own hand, anointed and equipped with strength from above. This one will not bring solutions of human origin, but will carry the language of revelation, the very words I, myself, have placed within them to deliver to you. When they appear, you will know with certainty that they are not there by chance. Every word they speak will carry no trace of human flattery, but will echo like a voice from heaven. They will not speak to please you or to gain your favor, but to release words that flow from the eternal source of life. They are instruments, not the origin. Through them you will hear my voice. Through them you will feel truth unveiled, and that truth will pierce through every doubt and shatter every lie that has bound you for far too long. I know you have waited until your heart grew weary. There were days you asked yourself, why have my prayers not been answered? You thought I was delaying, but I have never been late. I have been preparing so that when deliverance comes, it will not be shallow, not halfway, but complete, profound, and unshakable. You asked for a way out, but I am giving you an entire road. You cried out for a companion, but I am sending a vessel full of power. You longed for a simple answer, but I am granting you a revelation that will redirect the course of your life. Remember, prayers do not vanish into the air. They are like arrows shot straight into my throne, like drops of water filling a heavenly vessel. And at the appointed time, that vessel overflows, and the answers are poured down upon your life. What you thought had disappeared has actually been stored up, waiting for the moment of release, the moment I have chosen to show you that every whisper you breathed carried weight in heaven. The one I send will not come with dazzling appearance that draws admiration from the world. They may look ordinary, yet the power within them will still your heart, for it is not the outward form, but the language I have placed within them that bears witness. They will speak things only you, and I know they will touch the very places you thought no one could ever understand. They will bring confirmation that I still see you, still hear you, still stand beside you. And then you will realize what you have been waiting for has not vanished, but is nearer than ever. Prepare your heart, for the answer that is coming is not meant to soothe you for a moment, but to reshape your entire journey. It will not merely close the chapter of dark days, but will open a new season where you walk in light and freedom. What I am releasing is not a fragment of comfort, but transformation. It is not a fragile spark of hope, but an entire horizon of promise. Therefore, my child, do not fear when you see signs of change around you. Do not doubt when words strike directly into your soul. Believe that it is my voice speaking through the vessel I have sent. You once prayed with broken breaths. Now you will see the full answer. You once thought you were forgotten. Now you will see that heaven remembers you. You once believed your words had no value. Now you will witness how they have shaken my throne. You will know with your whole being that this deliverance does not come from man, but from me. It is not the product of chance, but the proof of unchanging love. And from that moment on, you will walk not with trembling, but with certainty. I am the one who has heard you, the one who has seen you, and the one who has long prepared to rescue you with glory. I am advancing not in indifferent silence, but in the authority of righteousness. I come to the very place where injustice has grown like thorns, entangling your every step, where deceit and falsehood have raised obstacles that kept you from walking uprightly. I come not to patch a few broken pieces of your path, but to rebuild from the foundation, to restore all that storms once tried to sweep away, to return to you what seemed lost forever. You may not yet see the full power at work, for your eyes are still veiled by old memories and the weight of prolonged weariness. But you will begin to sense something different. The atmosphere around you will shift. The heaviness that clung to you like fog will slowly lift, making room for a new light. The old cycles where you always felt almost there but never arrived are being broken. The repetition of disappointment of doors that barely opened before slamming shut is now being destroyed by my hand. You have often felt as though you were trapped in a maze with no exit. You have grown accustomed to seeing opportunities appear before you, only to have them slip away at the very last moment. You have become familiar with promises that were spoken but never fulfilled. But my child, I am breaking that restraining yoke. The invisible spiral that drained your strength and hope is coming to an end. I am rewriting the outcome, not so that you continue living in incomplete waiting, but so that you may truly step into fulfillment. The invisible wall that once confined you, the wall that at times you could not even name, is now trembling. Cracks have begun to appear, and it is my hand upon them that ensures they will not remain as small openings. I am shattering an entire system of chains that held you captive for far too long. And when I break it, it is not only for your release, but so that all who look upon you will know this is the work of the Almighty, and none can stop it. Remember, I do not come to patch things up. I do not work halfway. I come to rebuild, to give you not only restoration, but a brand new beginning. The fragments will no longer be marks of ruin, but will become the foundation for a greater work. I do not act to simply return what was lost as it was, but to give you something far beyond what your mind could imagine. You will begin to see the difference. The meaningless interruptions of the past, the moments you were pulled off course, will vanish. The cycles of depletion that once left you exhausted will lose all power over you. You will see clarity on your path, open doors ahead of you, and clear direction for your steps. This is not because you have become more capable, but because I have intervened and set my righteous seal upon your journey. My child, believe that even now I am touching the invisible barriers. I am dismantling them layer by layer, breaking every cord of bondage. And when I act, nothing remains to hold you back. You will walk forward no longer haunted by past failures, no longer trapped in the cycle of almost but never. You will step into a place of certainty where every promise is fulfilled and every beginning is carried to its full completion. I declare that the invisible wall has reached its end. The cracks will not stop, but will spread until the entire wall collapses completely. And when it falls, you will behold a new landscape. The wide open space I promised, where you may breathe freely, where your soul is released from pressure, where you walk in the light and fear no more. This is the moment I proclaim my righteousness in the midst of the injustices that surrounded you. This is the time I demonstrate that every chain must break when my hand moves. And from this moment forward, you will know with certainty that you are no longer restrained by what once bound you, but are led by the power of divine justice. When chaos rises like a flood, overwhelming on every side and threatening to sweep away the last fragments of hope you still hold, I have not left you alone. You may feel as if the world itself is tilting, every support collapsing, and all that you cling to is on the verge of being consumed. Yet in that very moment, my heavenly armies have been summoned. The angels do not stand silent, but have taken their positions, forming a shield around you. This is not a hidden battle unseen by all, but a heavenly mobilization where every tremor of your life is reported and brought under judgment. The court of heaven has convened, and every wave that sought to crush your spirit has been presented before my throne. Not a single detail has been overlooked. Every subtle strike against your mind, every unspoken accusation, every sequence of events that weighed down your soul has been recorded. I am not the one who sits idle, allowing you to collapse. On the contrary, I, myself, have risen to respond. Everything has been brought into the light, and I, the righteous judge, have rendered my decree. You have thought that the pressures you face are only the result of earthly circumstances, of lack of rejection, of disappointments piling one upon another. But you must know that the intensity you are experiencing does not belong solely to the visible realm. It is not merely the collision of daily events, but a shaking in the spiritual dimension. A movement from the heights of heaven has begun. The heavens themselves have been stirred to act on your behalf. You see the ground beneath your feet, trembling, the foundations that once felt secure in your life appearing to collapse. But do not be afraid, for these tremors are not random destruction. They have been investigated to the root by my hand. I have clearly discerned what belongs to the works of darkness and what was sent to destroy you. And I have issued heavenly decrees, judgments from my throne that dismantle entirely every malicious arrangement set against you. You must understand this: when I have spoken in the Spirit, every other force is silenced. When I have declared, none can resist. The schemes conceived in shadow, the unlawful covenants that once bound you all, are nullified when my light breaks through. My decrees are not mere suggestions. They are eternal edicts, carrying authority to dismantle, to overthrow, to shatter every chain. My child, you once believed you were simply wrestling with the ordinary hardships of life, but in truth you are standing at the center of a fierce spiritual battle. The visible world is only the surface. Beneath it flow unseen currents seeking to drag you downward. Yet in that same depth heaven has moved. I have dispatched angels to guard your path. They have stretched a net of light to block the arrows of darkness released from the night. What you endure may make you tremble, but I want you to know this: what seems like chaos is in fact the sign of my intervention. The shaking you witness is not meant to destroy you, but to strip away the shackles you did not know you carried. The walls now quivering are not collapsing to bury you, but to open a new way forward. When I act, I not only dismantle what was sent to ruin you, I also establish what is better, stronger, and aligned with my original intent for your life. Do not fear when you see the ground quaking, the walls cracking, or when you sense instability around you. These are not signs of an ending, but of transformation. They are reminders that I am present, shifting the balance, rewriting the script the enemy thought was sealed. This is not chance, it is divine intent. This is not collapse, it is rescue breaking through. And when all is complete, you will look back and see that every tear, every cry for help, every crashing wave became testimony to my faithfulness. You will know with certainty that you were never abandoned, never ignored. You will emerge from the storm, no longer bearing invisible chains upon your shoulders, but carrying upon your lips a testimony that the living God rose up, judged, delivered, and shattered every scheme that was sent to destroy you. I have seen with clarity the subtle operations of darkness. It does not always appear with a monstrous face easily recognized, but cloaks itself in the disguise of false wisdom, weaving confusion dressed as insight. I see the anxiety that burdens you, not roaring in loud assaults, but slipping in quietly disguised as the reasonable voice of logic. It persuades you that fear is reality, that you should accept it as an unavoidable part of life. Yet in all this concealment, I still see you a fragile one who nevertheless resists. I see you still call upon my name even with trembling hands and a voice so weary it is but a whisper. To me, even one faint whisper rising from the depths of your soul carries more weight than the roar of 1,000 storms. That very weakness becomes strength because you do not rely on yourself, but place your hope in me. The small, desperate cry from your lips resounds all the way to heaven. And because of that seemingly fragile plea, I have set the heavens in motion. A command has gone forth from my throne, a holy intervention has been released, something no power can hinder. This is not the distant gaze of a God unmoved by your suffering. I am not a passive observer seated in stillness as you writhe in pain. No, this is a sacred intervention, a direct act of mine in the story of your life. Yes, you have been surrounded. The forces of darkness have tightened their grip, trying to suffocate you to make you believe you are forsaken. But the truth is, you are not alone. You may be pressed to the very edge, pushed into corners where escape seems impossible, yet you are never cast aside. In my eyes, you have never been forgotten, and no hand can snatch you away from the keeping of my care. What once sought to bury you beneath the weight of failure, what once tried to fasten you into the shadows of despair, has now become the very thing that triggered a counterattack from heaven. That which the enemy devised for your destruction has turned into the opportunity for me to reveal my power. Every corrupt scheme, every subtle snare, every assault orchestrated by darkness has instead sounded the alarm for angelic armies to be dispatched for my light to erupt and scatter every plot in its path. Know this, your presence in the midst of affliction is not a sign of defeat, but a testimony that you are being shielded in a battle far beyond human sight. The tears you have shed were not wasted. They have been gathered and lifted as a mighty petition before my throne. Your weariness has not been dismissed, but has become the very point of contact that stirs my heart, and it is precisely in your weakness that my power is made most evident. You thought you had lost everything, but in truth you have just opened the door for heaven to display its strength. A single breath of prayer from you has shaken the heavens. A faint cry from your lips was enough for me to act. This proves that it is not only in your strength that I move, but even in your frailty I manifest my omnipotence. This is the mystery of grace. Your imperfection is the very place where my glory chooses to dwell. Remember, you have never once been abandoned. I have seen the battles raging within your soul as night surrounded you. I have witnessed the silent dialogues you held with yourself, trying to convince your heart that you were fine while inwardly you were collapsing piece by piece. I know the tangled thoughts, the fears, cloaked in reason to hide the reality that you were exhausted. And I also know that despite it all, you still whispered my name. That is why I did not remain silent. You may feel encircled on every side, but that encirclement has never stretched beyond the embrace of my protection. You may feel pressed with no way of escape, but you will never be erased from the eternal purpose I have set for you. And now what was meant to destroy you has become the very force that has ignited heaven's response. Every power that presumed to secure victory was mistaken, for they did not know that once I rise to act, all their designs collapse. You will see a wondrous reversal. Where the enemy sought to humiliate you, there I will lift you up. Where fear was planted, there I will breathe courage into your being. Where darkness tried to claim space, there my light will blaze with brilliance. The counterattack from heaven is not blind vengeance, but righteous intervention, to demonstrate that I am your defender, the one who will never allow your cry to dissolve into nothingness. My beloved, do not let your natural eyes deceive you. Though chaos rages around you, though shadows masquerade as reason and lurk at the edges, the certainty remains that I have risen on your behalf. You will not be swallowed by the raging tide. You will not be abandoned on the battlefield. Instead, you will witness an unveiling of power, unlike anything you have known. I, your God, have already stepped forth and am countering on your behalf. You imagined that your wounds would only be patched, that your losses would only be partially filled so you could drag yourself forward. but know what I am doing surpasses every narrow thought. I have not come to glue broken fragments together, nor to lend you a fragile endurance. I have come to rebuild the very foundation storms, once swept away, to construct anew upon the ground you thought was irreversibly ruined. What you believed forever lost, I am bringing back to life, not in its former state, but in a form more radiant, stronger, and brighter. In the very soil once soaked with sorrow, you will see fresh grass spring forth, pure waters flow, and the breath of new life surround you. At the very moment when your days seemed caught in weary repetition, I stepped in to cut through the barren cycle. The spirals of almost but never that weighed your soul are now unraveling piece by piece. The chain of repeated failures that left you self-condemned and crushed is now breaking away like rusted shackles severed from your limbs. I know you reached the point where you no longer dared to dream, where faith seemed too heavy to lift, where your heart fell at the brink of despair. But it was there at that very edge, when darkness thought it would claim you forever, that my light burst forth, not only to guide your steps, but to shatter every veil and bondage at their root. You will feel the atmosphere shift like a fresh wind blowing through, carrying with it the fragrance of freedom. The heavy clouds that once loomed over you, that once held you in such fear you dared not take another step, are now being swept away. You will hear a silence, unlike any other. Not the silence of loneliness, but the silence of peace, like a lake lying calm after waves have raged across its surface. That very peace will be the evidence to you that the miraculous has been released, that I have touched and transformed the environment around you. The old patterns that drained your strength, the repetitive choices that kept you in cycles of dead ends, will begin to break off suddenly. Paths you once thought familiar will start to feel strange, because I am opening up a new way. The grooves you once thought were destiny are now being erased, replaced with a road that stretches toward a land you have never set foot on. This is no longer about almost happening. It is about what is happening in reality. I will not let you live forever staring at an open door you can never enter. I have shattered the lock, turned the hinges, and now the door stands wide open for you to step through. Look closely. The walls that seemed invisible yet resisted all your efforts are now shaking. Cracks are forming, and it is my hand upon them. I do not use human force to tear them down, but the power of heaven to break them apart. Every tremor, every fissure spreading across those old stones is a sign that freedom is near. The obstacles that once blocked your vision, that once convinced you that you were trapped with no way out, are collapsing right before your eyes. Do not be alarmed when you feel yourself in the midst of an earthquake. That shaking is the announcement that I am moving. What I am breaking is not meant to terrify you, but to show you clearly there is no power strong enough to imprison you forever. You need not fear that beyond this wall another will rise, for I have promised that when I set free, the freedom is complete. When I break chains, no fetter can be fastened again. When I open a door, no one can shut it. You thought yourself weak for being unable to break out on your own, but that very weakness has become the ground where my power is revealed. Into the emptiness you carry, I have planted supernatural strength. In the very moment you believed yourself defeated, I was already granting you a new beginning. No, you are not losing. You are standing at the threshold of the victory heaven has decreed. No, you are not abandoned. You are wrapped in my embrace, and soon you will see that every step, every breath, every heartbeat of yours has been guarded by divine providence. Believe this, not a single one of your tears has fallen in vain. Not a single cry of yours has dissolved into nothingness. All have been heard by me, remembered by me, and answered in a way far stronger than you ever imagined. And now that answer is this. The walls are breaking, your soul is being released, and the gates of a new season are opening before you. Prepare your heart, for what I have begun will not stop halfway. This is an irreversible process, a flood from heaven pouring down, sweeping away every chain that once brought you to your knees. This is the moment for you to lift up your head and walk in a freedom not forged by human strength but given by my hand. You will see light not flickering from a distance but blazing brightly on the very road before you. You will know that my promise is not a far-off hope, but a reality flooding your surroundings. And when you stand upon new ground, you will remember the days when you felt buried, only to realize that those very days were the foundation for this great deliverance. You will understand that I was never late, never absent, but that everything unfolded in its perfect time. You will sing not merely because you are free, but because you know you have been loved with a love nothing can separate you from, and that my child will be the living proof that I am the one who has broken, rebuilt, and given you an entirely new life. I want you to understand that not a single tear you have shed has fallen without being recorded in the treasury of heaven's memory. Not a sigh you have breathed has vanished into nothingness without touching my heart. What you endured, which seemed beyond your strength and without a way of escape, has in fact become a cry for help that resounded all the way to the throne of glory. And when that cry reached its destination, it stirred a divine response beyond all human calculation. The forces that once conspired to crush you, the invisible hands that sought to bind your soul, have now been brought under the light of my justice, and the final verdict is no longer in their hands. Be at peace, for the enemy who thought it could devour you has gone too far, and now it stands face to face with the boundary I established before the dawn of the world. There are things I allowed you to pass through, like fire refining gold, like storms testing the strength of a tree. But there has always been a line that darkness was never permitted to cross. Now that they have reached that line, I have risen to act. This is no longer a season of silent waiting, but the moment of intervention by the Creator, the one who holds all authority in heaven and on earth. What the enemy planned in secret to shatter your life, I have turned into a trumpet sounding your deliverance. You will see with your own eyes the dismantling of every invisible cord that bound you. All the chains that exhausted your soul will be broken one by one, not by your strength, but by the power of the one who called you by name. The silence the enemy used to bury your voice will now become an empty space, echoing with decrees from heaven. The shadows that lurked around you will be consumed by my light, leaving no place for them to hide. And when that veil is torn away, you will understand that silence was never my absence, but the preparation for a greater unveiling. Remember, you are not forgotten, even when you thought your prayers had dissolved into the air. I have never abandoned you, nor ceased to watch over you. Every battle you faced, I measured, observed, and intervened at the right time. Do not mistake my timing for delay. I was waiting for the precise moment when every eye and every ear would know that I alone am the one who rescues. What you are about to witness will not merely be the end of a trial, but the beginning of a new journey, where you will walk in a freedom the enemy can no longer bind. Prepare your heart, for a new wind from heaven is blowing. I will shake the foundations the enemy built against you. Schemes will collapse, slanders will fade, hidden wounds will be healed. And from the ashes of what darkness once scattered, I will raise a stronghold, where you will no longer tremble but stand tall under my protection. You will not only escape the siege, but be lifted up as a witness of my deliverance. Therefore, do not fear when you see the shaking around you. Do not tremble when the old structures collapse, for this is the sign that my hand is at work. I am the one dismantling, I am the one breaking down, and I am also the one rebuilding something far better for you. Every dark cord that bound you is being untied, every wall that confined you is being torn down, and you will step forth as one released by a power no one can resist. Believe that this is the hour of reversal. Darkness thought it had won, but in truth it only awakened my power. What was plotted for your destruction has become proof that my hand still holds you. From now on, your journey will carry an unmistakable mark that you were tested but not defeated, pressed but not crushed, surrounded but never overcome, and in the end your very life will stand as undeniable testimony to my complete and final victory. My child, hold your heart steadfast. The very day you thought was your collapse is the day I began writing a new chapter for you. What darkness conspired to extinguish you has now ignited into a lamp to guide your path. And when you look back, you will see that every step, whether through tears or through pain, has led you to this very moment, the moment heaven has intervened, and I have acted to affirm that you belong to me, and no power can take that away. Beloved child, I want you to engrave this truth within your heart. Your existence has never been an accident, nor the random product of fate. Every detail of your life, every breath, every beat of your heart rests within my careful and perfect design. I did not create you to drift aimlessly through the currents of life, nor did I shape you only to abandon you to the storms. Rather, I formed you with my very own hands, leaving nothing incomplete, omitting nothing essential. You were born out of my focus, my care, and my eternal love. Every tear you have shed, every silent struggle you have endured in the shadows, every whisper in the stillness that seemed unheard, each one I have stored as precious jewels in heaven's treasury. None of them are meaningless. None of them are forgotten, for they are proof that my breath of life has been placed within you, making you a unique soul whose worth can never be replaced. You are not a wanderer lost in this world, nor a fragile being destined to collapse into nothingness. You are a chosen vessel set apart in my treasure, watched over by the unblinking eyes of your Creator. When I look at you, I do not see helpless weakness, but I see the potential. I have planted a light capable of piercing the darkest of rooms. Though you may have thought yourself to be only a small number among many in my eyes, you are a masterpiece cherished by heaven. No force can erase my imprint upon you, and no accusation can undo the value I have placed within you. I know there are times you have felt weary, times you believed all you endured was nothing but an endless chain of meaningless trials. But you must understand, nothing in your life has been in vain. Every step you have taken, every fall and every rising has been shaping your soul into a living testimony of my power. The silent thoughts, the hidden wrestlings that no one else has seen, I have seen them, I have heard them, I have held them close. And in those very moments you revealed to me a heart that still longs, still searches, still clings to the true source of life. That is why I call you my chosen vessel, not abandoned, but guarded under heaven's watchful care. Imagine a patient artisan seated at the potter's wheel, his hands carefully shaping each curve, adjusting every detail to create a vessel of perfection. That is the image of how I have formed you. I was never hurried, never careless, but deliberate, pouring all my attention into your making. When the fire of trial came, you were not destroyed, but refined. When the weight of life pressed upon you, you were not crushed, but molded into greater strength. You are a masterpiece under my keeping, and for that reason you never need to fear being forgotten or forsaken. My child, stand firm in this truth. You are not an accident, but a part of a divine plan. What you thought were wasted tears have become seeds sown into the field of eternity. The battles in your mind that seemed only to exhaust you have in fact trained you into a warrior strong in faith. I have seen you endure in silence. I have seen you remain steadfast when everything around you was shaken, and that alone testifies that you are being preserved by my hand. Therefore, lift up your head and do not see yourself as worthless. You were destined to be a vessel of glory, a dwelling place where I pour out grace, so that you may shine that very light into the world. You will no longer wonder whether your prayers are heard, for I have ordained that every petition of yours becomes a brick in the foundation of your future. You will no longer fear that hidden wounds will linger forever, for I am healing them with a love that knows no bounds. You will no longer worry that your life lacks direction, for I am your way, your light, and your truth. Believe this: from this moment on, you are not merely a survivor of the storm, but a living testimony that grace can transform a soul. When the world looks upon you, they will realize that you did not endure by your own strength, but by an unseen hand that held you firmly, by eyes that never turned away from you. Those eyes are mine, that hand is mine, and that love of mine has never faded. It is that very love which has made and continues to make a profound difference in your life. My beloved child, I know you have grown accustomed to carrying burdens as though they were an inevitable part of existence. You have lived with them so long that you began to believe weariness was normal, that enduring was unavoidable. But I tell you this: it is not normal. It is a chain that has bound you for far too long. You have called it habit, routine, a way of life, but in my sight, it is a cord that must be severed. You thought you were adapting, but in truth, you were only living under a weight you were never meant to bear. And now I come to speak plainly. The season of heavy loads has ended. The time of shackles has passed, and you no longer need to walk with your shoulders bent beneath that invisible weight. I have seen each weary step you have taken, the mornings when you rose without strength, surviving only by sheer effort. I have watched your heart beat heavy rhythms, no longer free to rejoice, as it did when I first breathed life into you. I know your mind has become a tangled maze, bound by invisible cords of worry, duty, expectation, and fears that none but I could ever understand. Others may think you are fine because you still smile, still speak with firmness, still fulfill your tasks. Yet only I see beyond that mask of strength to the soul that feels fractured, to the heart longing for rest, to the mind yearning to escape an unseen prison. You have walked through days that seemed endless, when even breathing felt burdensome, when the silence of night wrapped around you like a suffocating cloak, stifling your ability to pray. I have seen the quiet tears that fell, the suppressed sighs, and the moments you wished for someone close enough to hear the cry within. But when no one came, I was there. When no one understood, I still listened. When no one saw, I still watched. You were never truly alone on that journey, even when you believed yourself utterly abandoned. I have not only seen your struggle to keep going, I have seen your desperate attempts not to disappoint others. You pushed yourself beyond your limits, past what your body and soul could bear. You kept moving when your strength was gone. You kept smiling even as pain erased pieces of who you were. You existed, but you no longer lived. You breathed, but you no longer felt free. I know how it wore you down little by little, until you felt like nothing more than a shadow drifting silently through time. And I never created you to live, fading away like that. So now I have made my decision. I have decided that you will no longer carry those burdens. You no longer need to pretend everything is fine. You no longer need to prove yourself strong. You no longer need to smile while your heart bleeds. I have come to put an end to that prolonged weariness. I have come to break those unseen chains, to lift from your shoulders the weights you were never meant to bear. I have come to let you taste true freedom, a peace no pressure can steal away. My child, I do not want you merely to exist. I want you to live. I do not want you to drag your feet through the days. I want you to dance upon the path I set before you. I do not want you to move forward in forced steps. I want you to walk freely with a heart renewed, a mind restored, and a soul brimming with life. I have seen you endure enough, and now it is time for me to mark a new beginning in your life. Believe that you are not abandoned in your weariness. Believe that what I am doing now is to lift you out of the darkness of burdens. What you once called ordinary will no longer be your destiny. You were not born to become familiar with suffering. You were born to know the fullness of joy. You were not destined to remain bound to heaviness. You were created to experience the lightness of grace. And I, the one who formed you, am declaring the end of your season of exhaustion and the opening of a new era where you will know what true freedom is. My beloved, I promise you that this ending is not the conclusion of your life, but the opening of a new chapter. It is a chapter where you will no longer walk under the shadow of burdens, but under the light of peace. A chapter where you will no longer force a smile through pain, but will shine with a smile born from a healed heart. A chapter where you will no longer fade into obscurity, but will become clearer and brighter than ever before. And I will walk with you in every step, ensuring that you never return to the chains of the past. My beloved, listen closely, for what is unfolding around you now is unlike anything you have ever experienced before. My angels have been dispatched not only to protect you as in the past, but to prepare the way to open the path that I ordained long ago for you. They do not simply walk behind you, nor merely stand beside you, but they go before you, dissolving the chaos that once surrounded you, silencing every voice of opposition and locking down every power that dared to resist my will. On this path, every stone of obstruction is removed, every wall of separation is torn down, and every invisible chain that once bound your feet is shattered. You have known what it feels like to strive without seeing fruit, to walk through seasons where hope seemed within reach only to slip away. You have known the pain of taking one step forward only to be pushed 2 steps back, of seeing a glimpse of light only for darkness to close in again, of sowing seed only to have the harvest stolen. Those cycles of disappointment led you to believe that delay and loss were the inevitable patterns of life. But now I declare to you, this time is different. This is no longer the weary cycle you once knew. This is the moment I have marked, sealed with my own decree, and no power has permission to bargain or postpone it. This is no longer a hazy struggle you must fight in your own strength. This is the execution of a command from my glorious throne. I have issued the order, and the host of heaven is moving in alignment with every word I have spoken. No darkness holds legal right to interfere. No force retains authority to delay. What once tethered you in fear and doubt has lost its claim. My heavenly armies are advancing, tearing away every veil, breaking every chain, and clearing the way to the transformation I have promised. You need not fear losing what is about to be given, for it cannot be stolen, it cannot be reversed, it cannot be replaced. My child, remember this difference. This time it no longer depends on your strength. In the past, you had to strive, you had to fight, you had to wait with tears. But now you are entering a season where my angels fight on your behalf, where my will is accomplished, not by your effort, but by divine power. All you need to do is hold faith and walk forward, for the breaking, the releasing, the deliverance, these I have already arranged. You will see doors long shut swing open, not because you knocked harder, but because I commanded them to open. You will see refusals turn into acceptance, not because you argued more persuasively, but because I rewrote the answer. You will see places where you were once overlooked, now calling upon you, not because you changed yourself to please them, but because I turned their hearts. This is the sacred difference. You no longer have to wrestle to obtain your part, is simply to receive what I give. Look back and see every season of trial in the past was never meaningless. They have forged your faith, strengthened your soul, and taught you to hold tightly to me in the days when it seemed I was silent. Without the dry seasons, you would never know the true value of the rain of blessings. Without the setbacks, you would never have learned how to stand firm when victory arrived. Now all those lessons are converging to prepare you for a true breakthrough. Understand this, the change that is coming is not by chance, nor is it a matter of luck. This is an intentional design. This is the program I set in place before you were formed in your mother's womb, and when I have appointed the time, no enemy can delay it. This is the moment when the old promise becomes reality, when the tears you sowed in secret are turned into a bountiful harvest. Open your heart, for what is coming will surpass your imagination. You once thought you only needed a little peace, but I am about to grant you complete freedom. You once longed for a single open door, but I will open many doors in succession. You once prayed for a ray of light, but I will cause the sun of righteousness to shine upon you. And all of this is not, so you may boast, but so the world may see my goodness and my power through your life. My beloved, walk forward with steadfast faith. The obstacles of the past are now only memories. The forces that once filled you with fear are now bound. The doors that were once shut are now flung wide open. This is a moment sealed by heaven itself, and you will not retreat again. From here on you will move forward, and your advance will endure. For it does not rest on human strength, but on my promise, the promise of the one who never fails. I have seen you walk down those same corridors so many times, your eyes filled with hope as you gazed at doors that looked new, only to find yourself return to the same old place, retracing the same weary paths. Your beginnings were filled with expectation, with yearning for change, yet your endings were overshadowed by disappointment, repeating itself until your heart felt too exhausted to believe again. In despair, you cried out, "Why does this keep happening? Why am I stuck here?" And I heard that sigh not just as a question, but as a desperate cry from the depths of your soul, where weariness pressed heavily and shame covered your spirit like a Basperentu sea's thick veil. I heard, I understood, and I have prepared to act. You must know this: those cycles were never meant to condemn you, nor are they marks of failure. They are signals, remnants of unseen chains in the spiritual realm, things the natural eye cannot see, but strong enough to keep your soul bound. Many times you thought you lacked determination, patience, even blamed yourself for being weak. But I say to you, it is not so. You were never lazy nor stubborn as you supposed. In truth, you were resisting something beyond human strength, a hidden web woven by forces that did not want you free. That is why those patterns could not be broken by willpower or effort alone. What you need is not to try harder, but an intervention carrying heavenly authority. There are chains that can only be shattered when a greater power steps in. I have seen you struggle in vain. I have watched you grow weary as you tried to escape invisible cords, and now I have determined that you will not walk through one more fruitless cycle. I am sending someone to you, not an ordinary person, but one I have prepared, trained, and anointed. They will not come to pity you, nor to remind you of your pain, but to bring the key that will unlock the doors you could never cross. You have endured long seasons where your faith was tested to its limits. But now I tell you that cycle is ending. The repetition was not random, it was a warning that a deep spiritual root needed to be uprooted. And when I pull it up, it will not grow back. Just as Israel was trapped in a 40-year cycle in the wilderness, circling mountain after mountain until the day I decreed that a single word of mine would open the way into the promised land, so it will be with you. Your day is coming. The walls of Jericho in your life are already trembling, and soon they will collapse. You will see the clear difference. There will no longer be promising beginnings that end in failure. There will be no more doors that appear new, yet only lead you back to old wounds. This time, my beloved child, when your eyes are fixed only on the dangers that seem obvious, when your vigilance is consumed by what can be seen in the natural, that is the very moment when the hidden snares of darkness are arranged with precision and subtle calculation. They do not roar, nor do they appear with frightening shapes as you might imagine, but disguise themselves within ordinary circumstances, in empty yet sweet words, in the fragile familiarity of relationships that appear harmless. They slip into your life, without knocking, without noise, like a quiet draft of wind, seeping under the door in the night, silent, yet deliberate. You do not realize how thin the line has become between safety and collapse. The abyss does not reveal itself as a visible crack beneath your feet, but it exists within each decision you make when your soul has grown weary. You believe it is mere exhaustion, the natural result of days filled with strain, but it is deeper than that. It is the slow erosion within, where the roots of your spirit are drying, where the flame of faith is dimmed beneath the dust of doubt, disappointment, and surrender. As I look down, I see not only your feet wandering off course, but also the fading light in your eyes. I see the life I once placed within you, surrounded by faint whispers, deceptive sweetness, and invisible cords pulling you away from truth. These do not come all at once, nor are they so obvious that you could easily detect them. Instead, they work like water dripping against stone, wearing it down over time. At first comes fatigue, then indifference, and eventually a point where you no longer long to pray, no longer sense life flowing within you. You think you are fine simply because you have not collapsed, but you do not see that your soul is slowly losing its compass. The forces of darkness do not need to tear you apart with violence. They only need to cause you to forget who it was that called your name among the countless voices. They only need to make you question the love I have given you from the beginning. They only need to convince you that my silence is proof you have been abandoned. And so piece by piece your spiritual armor falls away without your awareness. The very air around you has shifted. Can you feel it? It no longer carries the freshness of the days when you trusted with childlike innocence, but has grown heavy thick, as though something unseen presses unease upon you for no clear reason. Your emotions are more easily shaken, your spirit more prone to confusion. Dreams no longer shine with clarity. Your conversations with me have lost their depth and become hurried whispers. None of this is random. It is the direct result of changes in the spiritual realm, a stirring so strong that the heavens themselves take notice. The angel assigned to guard you has sounded the alarm. The gates of heaven are no longer still, for the spiritual atmosphere around you has been disturbed by what you daily encounter, the lies you fail to recognize, the seemingly harmless exchanges that drip poison of doubt into your heart, the small compromises you deemed insignificant, which in truth are openings for darkness to slip through. I knew this before your sigh escaped. I heard the unspoken cry even you could not shape into words. I see the inner struggle that grips you each night. The questions that echo in your mind. Why have I not escaped this cycle? Are you still listening to me? Have I done something wrong? But, my child, what you are experiencing is not abandonment. It is the silent battle between light and darkness, between the life I have placed within you and the powers seeking to choke it. Their aim is not simply to strike you down. They seek to strip away your desire for spiritual life itself. They have no need for you to openly rebel against me. They only long to see your heart grow cold, to see you lose your sense of my presence. And when that takes place, they no longer need to push you into the abyss, for by then, in confusion and despair, you will walk into it on your own. But I, the one who holds every hidden thing, cannot allow your soul to be crushed in such a way. I began to move long before you were aware. I caused signs to be sent from heaven through fragmented dreams, gentle whispers in your thoughts, and people who came to you with words that seemed casual but carried profound meaning. Do not dismiss these signals. They are not random. They are my intervention, gentle yet unyielding, meant to draw you out of the labyrinth you did not even realize you were walking in. My beloved child, do you know this? Darkness does not fear those who appear outwardly strong. It fears awakened souls. It does not tremble before those who honor me with their lips, but it shudders before those who discern the quiet movements in the spiritual realm, and I desire you to be such a one. I want you to learn to distinguish between true light and counterfeit light, between my voice and the whisper that leads you into confusion. And at the very moment you least expect it, when time seems late in your eyes, when hope has begun to fade, I, by the supreme authority of the Creator of all things, have already begun a rescue beyond any human plan. I did not wait until your prayers were desperate enough, nor until you proved yourself strong or worthy. I acted because the battle surrounding you had become unbearably fierce. There are realities unfolding in the spiritual dimension that your eyes cannot see, but I see it all. Every arrow of darkness aimed at your soul, every manipulation hidden behind ordinary appearances, every intricate plot designed to choke your breath. And I do not stand still. I do not need the world's agreement, nor do I wait for permission from earthly systems to step onto the battlefield of your life. For I am not only the one who sees, I am the one who acts. When the heavens tremble, it is because I have spoken. When locked gates burst open unexpectedly, it is a sign of my intervention. This deliverance does not come in the way you expect it, does not arrive quietly or softly, but as a powerful shaking that drives back the darkness that has lingered too long around your spiritual atmosphere. You may not see it yet, but everything is shifting. I have summoned heavenly armies. I have dispatched messengers of light to shatter the invisible barriers surrounding your mind. The forces that once manipulated your dreams, disrupted your thoughts, and sowed fear into every decision are being exposed before the radiance of my holiness. I am uncovering the dark strategies the enemy has used to restrain you. The words that once made you doubt your worth, the painful memories that once bound your heart, the relationships you thought harmless but carried spiritual poison now, layer by layer, they are being dismantled. You assume nothing has changed, simply because you cannot yet see results with your eyes. But what you do not know is that deep within the core of the spiritual reality, a battle has ignited. I have not come to soothe. I have come to overthrow. I have not come to comfort you in captivity, but to break every chain you did not even know you were carrying. This rescue does not unfold on the timeline of Earth, for I am not bound by hours, rules, or human limits. I do not move by the fragile schedule of hope, but by my eternal wisdom and decree. And you must understand this: I do not intervene because you are weak. I intervene because the attack against you is too cunning. It disguises itself in what seems familiar, a lifestyle, a habit, an environment, a feeling you accepted as part of yourself. But I, the one who knows all things, see clearly that it is not you, nor is it what I placed within you from the beginning. What you have called normal is nothing more than a carefully crafted disguise designed to make you settle for a life beneath what I destined for you. Therefore, I am not merely adjusting timing, I am reversing cycles. What was once delayed, what doors were once tightly shut, what promises seemed dead, to all will be revived, not to simply please you, but to restore the rightful place and purpose I ordained. I am shaking the heavens, parting the clouds, and letting the light from my glorious throne flood into where you are. The barriers that once stopped you from moving forward are trembling not because you have grown stronger, but because I am removing them from the path of your destiny. I have shaken systems both in the spiritual realm and in the earthly realm to create room for you to step out. There are people who will leave your life bonds that will be severed, jobs, habits, and paths you once clung to that will be replaced. And though at first this may leave you unsettled, trust that it is not a loss but a clearing of the way. I am making space so you may receive what is new, pure, and complete, what I have prepared for you. You once wondered why things did not unfold in the way you expected. You felt as though I was delayed, as if your prayers were falling into emptiness. But you did not know that had I answered sooner, you would not have been strong enough to carry it. My desire was not merely to place something in your hands, I wanted to renew you so that you could hold it in wholeness. And now the appointed time has come. I have seen readiness in your soul even when you could not. I have seen the glimmer of light within the weariness of night, and I have decided now is the moment to act. Remember this: this rescue is not merely an act of mercy, it is a declaration, a thunderous proclamation in the spiritual realm. You are chosen, and no power can take that from my hands. You belong to me, and no matter how far you wander, No matter how weak you feel, that name is never erased. I do not measure your worth by your failures. I see the core I placed within you, and for that reason I step in to fight on your behalf, not because you surrendered, but because I know this battle has become too ruthless and complex for you to fight alone. Therefore, stay alert. Change is coming. Movements in the depths will soon begin to affect the surface. The silence you once called delay will give way to a series of events beyond your control, but do not be afraid. For every step has already been ordered by me. Every encounter has been appointed from heaven. You are not walking into chaos, you are stepping into the perfect will of the eternal God. And on this journey, you will not walk alone. I have sent those who will lift you not to replace me, but to remind you that you are covered, cared for, and seen not only by me, but by the army of light I have stationed around you long ago. I have not merely watched from a distance. I have seen the hidden schemes concealed behind appearances that seemed harmless. The calculations cloaked in false kindness, the laughter that carried unseen threats, the hands extended with intent to pull you from safety. I saw it all.